End of the road, nothing to do, and no hope of things getting better. Sounds like Saturday night at my house. Welcome to the Unrealistic Elephant Podcast. Not much of a house for not much of a donkey.
Okay, I like that.
You can keep them both in. It's like that would be my response.
All right, here we are.
Back
again in a magical land known as...
The Hundred-Acre Woods?
No. Atlantic Canada.
Oh, okay.
It's not like as like it might be nothing like it actually now that I think about it, but
The Hundred-Acre Woods, I'm pretty sure, was based off of woods in Britain.
yeah, which I guess could make like.
But actually, the Winnie the Pooh. Have you seen that old Canadian Heritage?
Oh
monument?
yeah, here we go. Yeah,
Yeah. Winnie the Pooh was on the Canadian Heritage. What did they call them?
Heritage Moments.
Yeah.
So for anyone not Canadian, Heritage Moments is basically these little shorts that I guess the government put out. Was it the government? Yeah, the government.
It was the government of Canada. They put out these little shorts that were like, hey, these are things the Canadians had like some seminal involvement in.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, exactly. It's like even like little things like the creation of Superman. There's one I remember about the Halifax explosion that came on all the time. The one about the first like multiplex, and then there's one about Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because apparently the person who brought Winnie the Pooh over from Canada, because it was his pet bear, I guess, during World War One.
A totally normal thing for somebody to have.
Yeah, during World War One, this person, I wrote his name down somewhere, let me find it. Canadian Lieutenant Harry Colburn. During World War One, he went over to England. He brought his pet bear named Winnie after his hometown Winnipeg, put it in a zoo, and he went off to France or something. And
Where else do you go?
Yeah.
Well, and what year was this?
This was in World War One years. I don't remember the exact year.
Who even knows at that point?
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah, World War One, not very well recorded, and people don't really have exact dates for anything.
No exact dates. It's just it's all up in the air. We never really know what happened there.
Exactly. It's like Tiananmen Square, but for the world. And so anyway, speaking of Tiananmen Square, Winnie the Pooh, China,
Yeah, there we go.
All the connections.
Hey, yeah, there we go.
So yeah, Lieutenant Colburn, left his bear at the London Zoo, and then apparently A.A. Milne, I think that's his name, the guy who writes the Pooh books.
Yeah.
A.A. Milne?
Yeah, that
I don't really know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, it's one of those things you've only ever seen, like, written.
Yeah, exactly. He was visiting the zoo with his son, Christopher Robin Milne, and...
I know that name.
Oh, yeah. Me too. It was in Pooh, Blood, and Honey. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so he went to the zoo with Christopher Robin Milne and his the guy who drew Winnie the Pooh,
the artist,
E.H. Shepard. So E.H. Shepard and A.A. Milne and Christopher Robin Milne go to the zoo and then
walk into a bar.
This bear named Winnie, and then Christopher Robin is just like, hey, let's call him Winnie the Pooh. Why Pooh? I don't know. And so, but that's not really what happened.
That's exactly how it went. This is how the Canadian government wanted to explain how involved we were.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think Pooh, I looked it up. The name Pooh came from a swan that Christopher Robin used to feed. There's like contradicting sources was whether or not that swan was a friend of A.A. Milne's, or if it was a person of, if the swan belonged to the queen. I couldn't find like definitive
so much stuff.
I couldn't find definitive proof as to where the Pooh swan came from. But his bear, Christopher Robin had a bear that he would carry around. It was originally called Edward the bear, which I guess was a pretty popular name for stuffed bears in the 1920s. Go figure. And
Crazy.
And so he renamed the bear Winnie, and then they added the Pooh because of the swan and the lieutenant's bear that he left at the zoo. So that's how Winnie the Pooh got his name. And
It's a very complicated story for a very uncomplicated type of character, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you would think that a character like Winnie the Pooh would just have a story like there was a bear and there was a kid and he called him Pooh. But it's like, no, there's so many moving parts and so much hearsay and like, well, legend says that. But it's just Winnie the Pooh. He's just a bear who likes honey and chilling.
Yeah, exactly. But there actually is, I think, more to the Winnie the Pooh character than that, but I'll get into that as we get into the movie itself.
There we go.
But, yeah, so I grew up watching quite a bit of Winnie the Pooh. I don't know about you, were you kind of...
I always saw it like this. Whenever you describe, like, the stuff you watched as a kid, you were more of a Disney kid, I find. And I was real deep into, like, the Nickelodeon SpongeBob shit. Like, but I guess there was... I had a videotape of... I forget what the original... I don't even know if it's the original. I don't really know a whole lot about Winnie the Pooh. Is the original short that has the Heffalumps and Woozles...
The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh?
Many Adventures, that's what it was called.
Yeah, that was the first Winnie the Pooh movie that Disney made.
Yes, exactly. So I had that on VHS, and I had this movie on VHS as well. Yeah. And I'd seen a couple things here and there. I've seen the back in the day it was the new movie, but
2011,
the 2011 Winnie the Pooh film with you. I definitely see the appeal. It just wasn't anything I sort of gravitated towards when I was a kid.
I watched all those things. Outside of that, I also watched Pooh's Heffalump movie, which I remember being okay. And then I watched religiously The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, the TV show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was a really fantastic show. That was one of the few 80s cartoons, in my opinion, that still holds up. Because it's like using actual artistry, kind of like DuckTales. I don't know, Disney had the market on actual artistry in Saturday morning cartoons back then. But yeah, I grew up watching a lot of Winnie the Pooh, and this was the first movie that they ever did a direct-to-video VHS release of. There was the theatrical release of The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, right? And then they did a bunch of VHS ones. The only other one I've seen is Pooh's Heffalump movie. I've never seen the Tigger movie or Piglet's Big movie or any of that stuff. So, and then they did the 2011 theatrical release, and then there hasn't been any Winnie the Pooh movies since then. There's been cartoons.
Yeah, for sure.
There's been TV shows that I think are like CG that look terrifying. And then,
yeah, it's very strange. It's this very beloved old story, but it just sort of gets left by the wayside a lot of the time, as opposed to like other things that are popular right now, which like makes sense. I find it's a very old fashioned story, so I'm not surprised that Disney, since like the 60s, whenever they licensed Winnie the Pooh, has like problems actually selling the the concept of the character.
Well, I mean, I'll get into that in a bit, but there is a lot of I also saw the 2018 Christopher Robin movie.
Right. Yeah, yes, with Ewan McGregor. That's his name.
So so I saw that. That was pretty good too. Which I was not expecting it to be. It was like a live action Winnie the Pooh. I was like, that sounds awful. And it was awful when they did Blood and Honey. I guess I saw the Blood and Honey one and two.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, once everything went into the public domain, all these fucking it was just like the Steamboat Willie shit. Whenever Winnie the Pooh went into the public domain, everyone was like, let's make a gritty horror movie about it.
Well, I think the Winnie the Pooh one was the first one to start that trend.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because the Steamboat Willie movie came out after.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's also, I think they did a Bambi one and a Peter Pan one. So that seems to be the new trend, is like doing these like classic horror movies or like these classic stories about like children's characters and turning them into horror movies. It's really lame.
It is.
It's
yeah,
not. It's like I could appreciate the first Blood and Honey as just being a middle finger to Disney at the time, but
the fact that you make multiple.
Yeah, and the second one was better. I'll give it that, because the first one had no budget or anything. But yeah. So, but they were bad, and it's interesting because a lot of people like write off that concept entirely. There are a lot of fantasy stuff that is actually kind of dark. That is like, they got kind of washed by Disney. Like Little Mermaid, the original's a lot darker and stuff like that. So there is a way to do that. That's like, you can take like an old fantasy concept for children and then make it horrific, especially if it's like riding on that. Like I've been watching a lot of the old Fleischer Brothers cartoons, and a lot of them are like horror. Like a lot of like the early like Bimbo and Betty Boop cartoons, like they're actually horror. Yeah. So like there's a way to do it, and that's not the way to do it, but by making it a generic slasher movie with like, a lasagna cat style costume for Winnie the Pooh. And so
that's really, I've never seen any of these movies. They've just never, I'm like, that's going to be bad. There's no reason to even watch these movies. So like, but
it's trying to be like a meme thing where it's like, hey, have you heard about the Winnie the Pooh horror movie? Isn't that so funny that they made Winnie the Pooh a horror movie?
Completely disposable, like fast food movies, where it's just like capitalizing on a trend. And it's like, again, you can capitalize on a trend if you want to like sell your movie, if you have an idea, but clearly this is a situation where nobody had any ideas.
Yeah.
It was just, how can we make Winnie the Pooh scary? And the first thought was, give him a knife or an axe or something. I don't know what he does, but like, I don't know. I don't know why that became such a big thing. I know why it's a big thing now. It's because of Winnie the Pooh, clearly. But like, it's just weird. Everything with it is so weird. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of this just like Winnie the Pooh stuff. We still haven't gotten to Grand Adventure yet.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to get into.
Yeah, but I mean, exactly. With like Winnie the Pooh being a big franchise, and this is different for me because I don't normally recommend franchise movies on this show.
Oh yeah,
I don't think I ever have before. Actually, this might be the first one, and I started with Winnie the Pooh of all things. But yeah, this was the reason that I picked this one is because I remember this as a kid when I was like, I don't know, 3 or 4. Right. And it's one of the earliest memories that I have of like watching anything. Another thing would be like Mickey Mouse the Band concert. That was one of my earliest memories too. A lot of the Looney Tunes stuff and like Sesame Street. But yeah, this is one of the first things I remember. Again, I don't know if it's the first Winnie the Pooh thing I saw because there was the Many Adventures, and there was the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh out at that point. And but this was one that I remember sticking with me, but I haven't seen it in like, I don't know, 25 years. So, and I haven't seen it since I was like in my single digits. So the reason I recommended it is because I wanted to go back and watch it again and see if there was something that I could glean from it. It's like, why did this stick with me as a kid? And I think I know why it is. It's a little bit more complicated than I was thinking. But so what was your experience with this movie? Because you said you saw it as a kid too.
Yeah, I did. We like, despite saying I wasn't a big Winnie the Pooh kid, I remembered this movie. Same situation as you. It left a very definite impact on me. To the point where when you recommended it last month, I was like, oh shit, I know this immediately. Despite the fact that there's, probably lots of Winnie the Pooh movies that I don't know about. This one definitely resonated. And why that was, I wasn't really sure until I rewatched it. And actually, it sort of to get into my own headspace of where I was as a kid, I found an old VHS rip on archive.org, and
I found a Laserdisc rip, man.
Yeah, I found that too. Yeah, so I watched an old VHS. I found the exact VHS that I had. I tried to remember as best as I could, even what the commercials were before it.
Is that how you did the litmus test?
Yeah, exactly.
Checking the commercials.
I guess so. There was 2, and I had to make sure. But anyway, and I guess the thing that I remembered most about this movie, just off the top of my head, was there were parts in this movie that scared me as a kid, like very deeply. And I've talked about this before. It was not hard to scare me as a kid, but this one was sort of weird because I didn't really, whenever I got scared by something as a kid, I wanted to immediately distance myself from whatever I'm doing. Like if I'm watching something that's scaring me, turn it off. I don't want to watch that anymore.
That's basically Piglet's arc in this movie, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't want to do it, and I just don't want to see it. And this was sort of a situation where I continued to expose myself to the thing that was scaring me. And it was really my first exposure, I guess, as a kid to purposefully scaring yourself for recreation, I guess. Like, and it was, it sounds stupid now because we watched Brain Dead last week or last month, and that's far more horrifying. I was way more scared watching that than I ever would have watching Pooh's Grand Adventure. But there's still moments in this where it's like, okay, this is a lot for the audience that they're sort of shooting for.
Yeah.
And that, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in like they are not talking down at all. Because even that's a big thing now is a lot of movies will talk down to their younger audience when it's for a younger audience. We talk about like current juggernauts in the kids entertainment space. We're talking Coco Melon. We're talking Miss Rachel. We're talking the other ones. I don't know. Whatever weird Russian.
I don't even know what Miss Rachel is.
There you go. I don't even
barely know what Coco Lemon is. I just know the name.
Coco Melon. But yeah, it's all very lowest common denominator, just rhyming words over and over again. This gives, I mean, this is a movie made for very young kids, and it still imparts really good messages, while at the same time sort of dealing with these themes in like how the movie is presented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And what I was going to say earlier, too, or what I kind of alluded to earlier, I should say, is that, you know, they have this kind of perception of Winnie the Pooh, I think a lot of people do, where they think it's just kind of fluff and nonsense, and it's just slow, and there's not really much of a point to it. But if you really watch it, like, in cases like, let's say, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, or even the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, because they're episodic and they do a lot of stories, yeah, they have a lot of the times where you're just kind of hanging out with the characters, and you're just kind of taking it easy, but a lot of times they do have kind of philosophical discussions in there. It's kind of like Calvin and Hobbes in a way. In terms of like, both in terms of like the imagination of a kid, and also in terms of like how it can be like this goofy slapstick thing, Tiger jumping on, Calvin, and then they'll be going down the hill in a wagon having a really philosophical discussion about life and everything.
Yeah.
Like that. And with Winnie the Pooh, it kind of, you know, you could, when you watch a Pooh story, it can be one of those two things. And usually when you're watching an episodic version, like The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, you're going to get like a mix of those stories. This movie, Pooh's Grand Adventure, the fact that it's only one story means they had to pick one or the other, and this is all the philosophical stuff. This is, like, I mean, there is moments where there's like, you know, you're just hanging out with the characters and it's laid back and stuff, but this was really going in for like, you know, the deep messaging.
I did not remember that at all. Because watching it again, I was thinking back, like, I remembered being scared by this movie, but watching it again, I'm like, I'm not sure what scenes are scaring me.
Yeah.
You know, like there's the scene inside of the skull. There's the scene where they're all lost in the caves. So that's scary. Yeah. But I don't think that's what scared me. It's really just sort of the way they talk to you. They make you think about things in a way that you're not really accustomed to. Yeah. At least when you're that young.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I agree. Like, this is, it's not the same as, like, say, a dark fantasy movie from the 80s, like The Neverending Story or something like that, which is a lot more, like, PG and stuff like that. This is definitely for, like, preschoolers, but if you're a preschooler, like, this takes you very seriously, and it it's willing to push those boundaries while still being true to the characters and true to the story and everything like that. And so that's why I going back to watch this again, I really appreciated it, because it was a totally, you know, I did kind of start to remember why this left an impression on me, and, you know, why this is one of my earliest memories, because when you're a kid, the size and the scope of this movie, it does feel like a grand adventure. Like
it really does.
Lives up to its title. And so,
yeah, when in reality, I don't think in reality, they probably didn't even go that far. But it really does feel like this great grand adventure. So, like, in terms of, I guess we should just break down the general plot of the movie.
Sure, it won't take long.
Yeah, it won't take long. Movie starts. Pooh is hanging out with Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin says, if I'm not here, I guess. Oh, geez, it's so layered.
Pooh, he's trying to tell Christopher Robin that I might be going away soon, and Pooh's not really listening. He's like,
yeah, because that's who he is.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
just very.
If it's not a happy story, then it can wait, or whatever he says. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Forever and ever.
By the way, I just want to say that I'm glad that we picked this one after Balto, because this is another chance to praise Jim Cummings.
Oh, yes!
Who plays Pooh Bear. But when I looked up, I didn't even know this. He plays Tigger's singing voice, too.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's what Jim Cummings can do. Did you ever know in The Lion King, Jeremy Irons, when he's doing the Be Prepared song, there's a verse in there where Jim Cummings comes in and he does a Scar impression, and he fucking takes over the song, and it's seamless. You can't even tell unless you're really comparing the two next to each other.
I had no idea. What? So he just wait. So what? Like Jeremy Irons did the song. And then what? They put another verse in there.
There was a verse in Be Prepared where Jim Cummings just came in, did a Scar impression, and it sounds exactly like it wasn't even the full song. It's not like he was Scar's singing voice. It was just like one verse in the song, and it was seamless. And Jim Cummings is a very fucking, I wouldn't call him underappreciated, because if you do know a lot about voice actors, then you probably know who Jim Cummings is.
Exactly. He's one of the most celebrated voice actors ever. But
I mean, just voice actors in general are underrated. So I mean,
exactly.
That's why,
like, there is so much that needs to be conveyed when you are just the voice.
Yeah.
There needs to be a level of elevated performance that you need to give. And again, for a movie for kindergartners, this is. Like, he's really giving it his all. Again, it's not the same as in Balto, whenever he's playing a very intense character. But
or in Sonic.
Oh yeah, or in Sonic.
That hedgehog Snively.
Snively. Oh fuck. And yeah, so he's giving a very muted performance. That's how he's always given it. But it feels so. It's a very gentle way. Again, when you're talking about a movie for kids like this is exactly how you want to present difficult subjects like loneliness and, being brave and believing in yourself and things like that. It is so much more important to deal with that with a soft hand, rather than, just not thinking about how it's presented. Yeah. No matter how accessible you write this dialogue, if it's not coming from a character that kids feel safe with, it's not going to go through.
Yeah, and that's something true about all the characters, is that
right.
But before I get into that, let's go back to the
right.
To the basic plot. So Christopher Robin says he's going to leave. Pooh doesn't really pay attention. Then he wakes up and Christopher Robin's not there, and then he's like, "What the hell?" And so he goes.
What the hell?
He goes and he talks to Piglet and Rabbit and Tigger and Eeyore, and they go talk to Owl. And then he's like, "Oh, he went to this place called Skull," which is actually school, but they think it's Skull. So they go on a journey to find this place called Skull, which I actually it reminded me a lot of the 2011 movie where they did the Baxen. Thing where the Baxen mix up, and I think that they're both based off of one of the same stories of the original A.A. Milne.
Oh, really?
Pooh stories. I mean, this is a completely original adventure, but
the general story beats.
That beat was taken from one of the old books. the original book was the Baxen. It wasn't the Skull.
Okay,
So yeah.
So the 2011 did the original book,
Yeah.
and this sort of did its own thing.
And to be fair, I thought the Baxen thing was a lot funnier in the 2011 one.
Yeah.
But, this was pretty funny, too.
Yeah, I wish I had checked out the 2011 film, because, now that I think about it, a lot of beats from that movie are similar to beats in this.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same movie, but it's like, you can see different elements of it that come from the same book.
Yeah.
And so... with this one, they go off on this journey. They pretty much travel Lord of the Rings style to this place called Skull, and they progressively get they go through different trials. It's kind of. I kind of noticed there's a bit of a Wizard of Oz thing with the characters going on.
Yeah,
where,
because
Tigger has he loses his bounciness. Piglet has his problems with
bravery,
fear, and Rabbit starts to think that he's not actually that smart. And it's kind of this whole thing. I was like, well, you were brave all along. You were smart all along. And then Eeyore's just there. He doesn't really have an arc. And
Eeyore's just, Hey, just want to say, Eeyore was my first ever Halloween costume, I'll say. I've always resonated with the man. He is my favorite Winnie the Pooh character, just because he's sort of like like Squidward, when people say you hate Squidward as a kid, but then when you become an adult, you're like, okay,
I
Squidward.
Never hated Squidward. I thought it was funny.
But
I like him a lot more as an adult. I will say that.
Exactly. You like him a whole lot more as an adult. Eeyore's the same way, just in a less mean-spirited way.
Yeah.
He's just depressed. And I love that for him. There's nothing wrong with being a little depressed, even when you have lots of loved ones around you.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to get into that too. But it was just kind of funny that Eeyore is just kind of there. Yeah. Because Pooh's the main character driving everything, and then everybody else is going on their arcs except for Eeyore. But Eeyore does make everything better just by virtue of being there.
Yeah, exactly.
And, because when you're a kid, I think maybe you would probably relate more to Tigger or Piglet.
Yeah, exactly.
But, as you get there's little bits of all these different characters in everyone, I'd say, because they're all kind of representative. There's the whole joke where they're all representative of different mental disorders, Pooh is gluttony or overeating, and then Piglet's anxiety, and Tigger's ADHD, and Eeyore's depression, Rabbit's OCD, all these different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess you could interpret it that way. My interpretation has always been, okay, this is actually what Christopher Robin is daydreaming about at school. And these are different elements of Christopher Robin's kind of persona, because, these are all elements that I think everybody has of gluttony and then anxiety and but, when he takes those elements of himself and he puts them into a character and dials them up to 11, that's when you get the characters from Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because that's in universe. It's never really talked about, but Pooh and everyone else. It is a Calvin and Hobbes situation. It's just dealt with a little less explicitly, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
It's very much, these are characters in his mind. Which again leads to Rugrats shit, where it's Angelica dreamed all the Rugrats and shit.
I'm tired of that stuff. I mean, it's just, but with something like Winnie the Pooh, there is an illegitimate argument to be made that it is all taking place in Christopher Robin's head, but that doesn't mean that he's I don't know, schizophrenic or whatever that people try to say that he is.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Even
It's all about kids' imagination. It's Where the Wild Things Are. It's the same thing where it's that's obviously taking place in the main character's imagination. But it's not because he's crazy. It's because he's a kid and he has an active imagination.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a totally fine thing to to do. It's not it cheapens the experience.
Yeah.
It's more you are inside just sort of his dreamscape, I guess. That's why, and as a kid I never got this. I guess we can just get right into what happens at the end. We're gonna spoil Winnie the Pooh's grand adventure. The search for Christopher
you should
Robin.
Check out though if you like Winnie the Pooh
for sure. If you like Winnie the Pooh, if you've got kids, they'll love this. This is great. I think that any kid these days who watched this would not be dated at all. When did this movie come out?
97, I think.
97. I thought that when I saw this probably well after that when I was on VHS. I thought it was like a brand new movie. Like I guess
it was a straight to VHS movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's very possible.
But I saw it. Bottom line is, I saw it much later.
Okay.
And I think this is like a timeless sort of story. I think Winnie the Pooh is like a timeless universe.
Yeah.
It can always be brought back. That's why it keeps coming back.
That's what they call the
Pooh-niverse.
That's what they call the dark fantasy, like Blood and Honey, Bambi. They're gonna do a crossover Avengers style. It's called the Pooh-niverse.
No, none of
you can find the whole thing. It's mapped out on.
Oh my god!
Of all their plans.
There's no way anybody gives a shit about the Pooh-niverse. More people care about Dark Universe mummy shit.
But I think when people think about Winnie the Pooh nowadays, they're either thinking of that Blood and Honey movie, or they're thinking about all of the memes of like the Chinese president.
Yeah,
and I kind of feel like there's a little bit of something lost of like the character and like, you know, the appreciation for, you know, how good these stories can be. And so I was glad to kind of remind myself of that by choosing this movie of all things. And,
it really is like a feel good movie, even though most of the movie is dealt with like. If you think about it too much, it's like, oh well, they don't know where Christopher Robin is. It's just they're so worried about him. Even though that's the case, they're having a good time on an adventure together. Yeah. It's always a positive thing.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's like I don't really know how you can take a universe like this and turn it into like fucking the Pooh-niverse, man. Like you can't. Like there is, you can do whatever with whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's a public domain. You can do it. But wouldn't it be cool if, I don't know, somebody just made a genuine Winnie the Pooh movie that was trying to be like the books now?
Why are we all trying to be ironic? Why can't you just, do a Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
Like do a movie about Christopher Robin growing up and having to tackle the parts of his childhood that he barely remembers. You can get into the nitty gritty stuff. If you want to be a little grittier than Disney would ever let you be, you can now. Yeah. He's free. Yeah. But you're gonna put him in the Pooh-niverse?
Or like, what if somebody actually made like, I don't know, a Steamboat Willie movie that was actually like the old like Mickey Mouse cartoons? It's like, but you know, we're wasting our time fucking greenlighting these like horror movies. It's like there's so much like good stuff now that anybody can make this shit. And this is what we get. Is this
amazing shit post. Now show me something from your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? Show me some real art. That's awesome that you're commodifying like the jokes we make online.
Yeah.
Show me something from within. Show me your heart. Show me what you love. You're killing me here.
Candy hearts and paper flowers. I was actually getting some Raggedy Ann vibes from watching this too.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, because
I always sort of associated that just with like the Heffalumps and Woozle stuff from Many Adventures, and things like that. You sort of get that vibe where this is like a very lighthearted animated like feature, but it
goes into a lot of dark territory.
It goes into a lot of dark and frightening places. Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot like Raggedy Ann.
Yeah, well, I mean, down to the fact that they were both kind of made around the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in the 20s, and then having seen stuff like the Paddington movies, which I absolutely love.
Oh, amazing!
And so, I don't know exactly when Paddington was made. I never really read too many of those old books of like Winnie the Pooh or Paddington.
Yeah,
I did read the first Raggedy Ann book, but there's like 30 of those, so I haven't gotten to the rest of them. But there's so many of these like kind of endearing characters from back then where it but the stories are timeless, and that's why they live on. It's the same thing with something like a Mickey Mouse or something like Betty Boop, or like these characters that have kind of transcended time. And there's a lot of forgotten stuff from those days too. But it's one of those things where it's like, I'm always glad Pooh is around, and like he's kind of like being introduced to generation after generation in his own way. I'm glad that he's a character, like even with like all this Chinese government, horror movie nonsense that people are doing, they're still making Pooh shows on like Disney Plus, and so, or I think it's Disney Plus, but there's
whatever they need. Yeah.
And because it is one of those I think timeless things, and it's like a lot of people are like, oh, do kids even play with toys anymore? I think they do.
Oh yeah.
I think they do. I don't think that sentiment is nearly as like
I think that it's very easy to get cynical about like children's media, especially what I mentioned fucking I wouldn't want I would be cynical if my kid's favorite TV show was Coco Melon. Like if my kids were like, I don't want this, I want brainless stuff, I just want stimulation. And it's like, but that's not the case. People, these like kids still crave being touched by art and things like that. Yeah. And this is like one of those pieces of art that could touch somebody very early on and sort of change how they view art and life and I guess film as well. And
yeah, actually, I saw a statement from N.D. Stevenson, the person who made Nimona.
Okay. Right,
like the comic book, not the movie.
Yeah. No, I'm still very familiar.
Yeah, and they said that that this movie was highly influential on them as a kid. It made them think about existentialism and like all these different topics that they were not. I say they because I know they're trans and I don't exactly remember the thing. So I just want
to be sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying they because I don't want to misgender. But N.D. Stevenson said that this was something that they really made them think about things that they weren't ready to process as a kid. And I kind of do understand like this would be kind of like, imagine if they did a Blue's Clues movie where they fucking went to a volcano and there was like all these different like horrific like imagery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of Winnie the Pooh's Grand Adventure, where it feels larger scale. And I just want to say, like, backgrounds and everything, like, they get progressively darker and they get progressively like
sort of reflecting how they're feeling
too.
Exactly.
Like they go through like the woods at the beginning, and that's kind of dark and scary, and then they go to like the giant cliff where they like fall down like Wile E. Coyote style, and then they go to the cave at the end, and it all looks beautiful. It all looks way better than, like a lot of I know that straight to video like VHS Disney movies kind of have a bad rep.
Yeah.
I think that I just got lucky when I was a kid and I watched the good ones.
Oh yeah.
I really liked like Lion King 2. I liked 101 Dalmatians 2. I liked Lady and the Tramp 2 was okay. It certainly wasn't the worst. Kronk's New Groove kind of sucked. The Emperor's New School was good, but
just randomly, I just remember Emperor's New School was awesome on the Disney Channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, but for some reason the movie for it didn't. Yeah,
I think the Kronk's New Groove came out before that.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was looking forward to that. And I was like, oh, and then Emperor's New School, I'm like, oh, this will be again. I was like, yeah. So,
like, yeah.
But yeah, so beyond N.D. Stevenson, there was also songs that were remixed by bands that I found. Like, Forever and Ever was remixed by an Australian electronic band called Pogo.
Oh, okay.
And the song was called Boy and Bear. And
cool.
Yeah, and then I guess plot elements of this movie were used in Kingdom Hearts 2, and then also in Party Time with Winnie the Pooh on PS1, which I assume is like a Mario Party style.
I imagine they were both very important to the plot of their respective games.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. Have you ever played any of the Winnie the Pooh games?
I played the baseball one. You know that one?
I don't think I do.
There's a famous Winnie the Pooh baseball game on, I think it's like Chinese,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
a Chinese
actually,
website where it gets progressively more difficult until Christopher Robin shows up and he is the hardest boss in like video game history or something.
I didn't look too much into that, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I never really touched. I mean, I played a little Kingdom Hearts, never Kingdom Hearts 2 though.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, haven't played any of those games.
I played Tigger's Honey Hunt on the N64.
Oh yeah,
It was like a side. It was one of the only like 2.5D kind of games that were on the N64. But it was, for a kid, it's pretty good. Like, there's no challenge at all. You can, like, it's one thing where I would say it's good for a kid. It's not like Elmo's Number Journey or Letter Adventure where it's, it sucks as a kid and it also sucks as an adult. No, this is like, that would be like a good game that I would recommend for children who were playing it on the N64 like I was. And so, yeah. And so I got completely off topic. I forgot what we were talking about in regards to the movie though. But this was actually one of the few VHS movies that or direct-to-video movies, I should say, that they reviewed on Siskel and Ebert.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they only reviewed things that are like in theaters.
No, this was an exception, and The Lion King 2 was another exception.
Really?
And I don't know why of all things, but
Disney money probably.
Yeah, it could be. But yeah, they both recommended Winnie the Pooh,
Grand Adventure of Christopher Robin.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think Siskel even was a little bit more ecstatic than Ebert was. Ebert was like, "Oh yeah, it's good for kids," but Siskel was like, "No, this is really cool. Like the way that they do this, and yeah." So I think Siskel actually really liked it, and this is one thing too. Like, oh yeah, what I was going to say is like the visually. Even though like a lot of those Disney direct-to-video things, like a lot of them did have pretty good animation, not theatrical quality necessarily.
Yeah, a lot of these. This is what happened to me. Is a lot of these direct-to-video Disney sequels would often be like clips, like 3 episodes of a TV show smushed into one movie. So all of the every plot beat it would be 3 stories in one movie, and it's really just a soft like a soft launch of a TV show. And if it does well, then they make the show. Or if it doesn't do well, they still release it and then they make money. So like Tarzan and Jane, I believe there was a Hercules movie that I saw that was the same thing. Stitch the movie was another thing where it was I thought I was seeing Lilo and Stitch. Turns out it was like 3 episodes of the Stitch TV show. Fuck me, right? So yeah,
I liked the Lilo and Stitch TV show.
Hey, that's great. Not what I was looking for when I was 8 years old.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
it probably would be. I'd pick it over the remake, but anyway, I haven't seen the remake.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
But this is one of those situations where it was sort of made on its own merits. I think the style is really close to New Adventures.
Yeah, it's very much. You can definitely see it's a continuation of the visual style there.
Yeah,
that they
exactly.
used in that one.
Exactly. There was So there's. I know what people mean when they talk about the drop in quality from like the main Disney movie to the Disney sequel. I think it helps that there's no like theatrical Disney movie that this was a sequel to, so it sort of stands on its own merits.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like this was a sequel to the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Exactly.
Or even the TV show, The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. But
yeah.
And
they very much could have that wouldn't have been an issue, but they just sort of made it its own thing. And it looks lovely. There's nothing wrong with any of the animation in this. Of course, Many Adventures has a lot of like very significant visual things, but and this doesn't go that gonzo on it.
Yeah.
But it for what it is, it's a very solid looking directed VHS movie.
Yeah. And even like the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, like I could argue that some episodes of that show, just because they made so many of them, because it was a TV show,
right? Yeah,
and they had like a lot of ambitious ideas. Like there was one I remember where like they were like jumping through clouds and like they were like landing on.
Oh,
they
wow.
just kind of like went up into the clouds and started jumping on them. I need to like. I was planning on rewatching some of the before we reviewed this, but I never got around to it. I'd like to. But yeah, like this was like and I also really like at the end when Christopher Robin shows up at the cave and like they go back to like the old places that they were at and he's like, oh, this wasn't as scary as we actually thought it was. It's like at first I'm like, that's weird. But no, I do understand like the underlying message that they're trying to convey with that.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. Let's talk about we've talked a lot about, you know, the performances, the animation, how the movie looks. What is this movie about? What is Pooh's Grand Adventure: The Search for Christopher Robin about, Ian?
Yeah.
What is the philosophical touch point?
Well, you know, so going back to what you were saying before about Eeyore, I've heard the sentiment online a lot that the great thing about Eeyore is that even though he's like clinically depressed,
Right? Yeah,
and
essentially,
he's going through all this stuff. His friends just invite him out everywhere, and they don't judge him. They don't expect him to be happy or pretend to enjoy himself. They just accept him for who he is, and then they go on that adventure with him. And I think that's true. But I also think that applies to every other person in this class. Like nobody expects Piglet to like be brave, and like nobody's telling him to man up. Nobody's telling Rabbit, "Oh, you have a stick up your ass. You know, stop being a know-it-all." Nobody tells Pooh that you know he's a glutton or that he's fat or anything like that. They all accept each other, except for maybe like Tigger if he annoys Rabbit.
Exactly.
That happens, but not like it's not like he doesn't like Tigger though. So it's like
exactly, and I'm sure there's been plots in the show where it's like, oh, we're fighting or something, but like they always make up. They're always friends first and foremost.
Yeah, but a lot of my point is, it's like, you know, that can be a really tricky thing to write when your characters don't have conflict with each other, because that's like
that's the whole thing.
Yeah, conflict generates drama and comedy and all these other things in the human experience, and when your characters are just kind of like, you know, friendly with each other, how do you make the conflict? And it's by delving into their own kind of personal issues.
Exactly.
It's like, you know, Tigger doesn't think he can bounce as high as he used to. Piglet thinks he's a coward. Rabbit starts to question his own intelligence. Even though I'd say Owl is the pseudo-intellectual one. Owl always like pissed me off when I was a kid. I mean, not that I didn't like him, it's just the conclusions that he came to and the way that the characters would misinterpret that. I'm like, fuck you, Owl.
Fuck Owl. That's the thing, is he was never the smart one. He was always someone who had the appearance of being smart, maybe wise, but never smart. Rabbit was always the smart one.
Yeah, and so like with all these things, you know, where they're questioning their own abilities to like even find Christopher Robin or even, you know, but they're all working on their instinct, and they kind of, as they go through the movie and they go through all these different trials and tribulations, they start to realize it's like, oh, okay, the bravery was in me all along. I had the intelligence. I just had to believe in myself. The same thing with the bouncy thing that Tigger was going through. That's kind of the whole thing where I was talking about before, where it's like they all accept each other, but they still have these inner conflicts within themselves that does make for really good drama, and it does make for like really integral character development as they go through the movie, and they kind of realize, because it's not like everybody else is saying, hey, Piglet, you're a coward. You know, it's just Piglet's own perception of himself that is that way.
Yeah, no, nobody has issues with Piglet being a coward.
Yeah.
No one has issues with Tigger not being able to bounce high enough.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's all about, you know, their own personal failings, how they feel, and that's all stems. So all this doesn't happen until Christopher Robin leaves.
Yeah,
Christopher Robin is sort of a touch point in all these characters' lives, for the obvious reason being that he is like sort of, again, don't want to get too edgy with this, like a god to them. Like if we're being real, like in a sense, he is. The fact that he perceives them is what makes them real, and what makes their struggles and their personalities real. And I really do like your idea that this movie is what he's picturing in school.
Yeah.
He's like, this is his mind. He says, well, he can't misunderstand what's happening back in the Hundred-Acre Wood.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what's happening. He knows that Pooh is lost.
Yeah.
He knows that that Tigger is second guessing himself. He knows that Piglet's more scared than he's ever been.
Yeah.
He knows that, and he
Eeyore
knows
is there.
Yeah, and Eeyore is there. Well, Eeyore's already going through enough.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is there's no reason.
Yeah, but I do again. I like the movie. Like they could have made the message that like, oh Eeyore, why don't you cheer up? And they never do make that message.
Yeah, it's never the problem.
Yeah.
No, what? There's never a thing where like Eeyore needs to be happier. No.
Yeah.
He is he.
Yeah.
And
a lot of these things that the characters perceive as like weaknesses of themselves. I mean, that's not really like the movie, and a lot of the Pooh stories. Really, they kind of come to the conclusion it's like these are just who you are. Like this isn't a weakness of you. This is just we love you for the way that you are. Piglet's not the sum of his anxiety. Rabbit's not the sum of his stupid moments. It's just.
In fact, it's the overcoming of these shortcomings that makes you who you are. Piglet is brave not because he is willing to do anything or face anything head on. He's brave because he is terrified all the time. He is shitting his pants at any given moment.
He's like Luigi.
He's like Luigi.
And it's
Piglet
the same thing. It's like nobody expects Luigi to be like this big manly.
Exactly.
In his universe, it's not like Mario's like, oh, you stupid coward.
Yeah, exactly. Luigi is not brave because he goes into the mansion and breaks that painting out open and gets Mario out of there. He's brave because he's fucking terrified of ghosts, and he's going into the ghost mansion.
Yeah,
it's. Before they felt like all their confidence came from having a great friend like Christopher Robin, or and a great support system. Even though they all have each other, they still feel alone without him. And it's sort of that last scene near the end where Pooh is by himself. That's another scene that also made me scared as a kid. There's that point where Pooh is trying to run up the sides of the cliff, and he slides back down, and it just feels really helpless.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way that he's going to be able to make it out of this. And I never felt like that as a kid. I really felt like a lot of the media I watched was sort of written in a way that like the characters were going to be fine. They weren't going to try to scare me, but I felt like I was being challenged. And in that scene, Pooh is just sort of dealing with the fact that his failing of Christopher Robin is he couldn't remember the words that he gave him, which we didn't even mention. So the words that Christopher Robin gives him at the beginning of the movie is to always remember you're braver than you believe, you're stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think.
Yeah.
And of course, Pooh is like 200 milligrams deep in his edible and completely just like passes out before he can actually take any of that advice.
It's like that Pooh meme where he's like on the chair and then you see like the distinguished Pooh.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Pooh.
Oh my god. Yeah, so through the whole movie he's trying to impart this advice to the other characters who need it. And, he can't remember exactly what it is. He overthinks these things too much, which is funny because Pooh doesn't usually think at all.
Yeah, he's very little brains.
He really is. So when he finally comes up with it at the end and remembers it, it's really this idea of, he comes to the idea of, that was in me all along. I didn't forget. I just couldn't remember. And then once he comes to that realization, he realizes, oh, well, Christopher Robin will always be with me in a sense, Yeah. Christopher Robin will always be with me in a sense, and that makes me feel whole again.
Yeah.
Even if he's not physically here, we're always still together as friends, and that will never change. And that's sort of what changes the minds of the other people. I think it's really funny that Pooh and Tigger and Rabbit all sort of come to their own conclusions about their shortcomings without Pooh, or without Christopher Robin too. Yeah. Pooh is go figure, stuck in a small place. This happens to this guy all the fucking time.
I remember him getting stuck in that as a kid, and I remember being like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, exactly.
Anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. I was really
when I was watching this movie, I just kind of remembered like images from when I was a kid, like sort of creeping back in, and that was one of them. I was like, "Oh yeah."
You know what? I felt the same way watching Many Adventures. Whenever he gets stuck in the side of the house,
Yeah.
and they're like painting stuff on him. It's like, that's horrifying. I don't want that to happen to me. But and like everyone sort of comes to this conclusion on their own. They don't need anyone else's help.
Yeah.
They need each other's support. And Pooh, I think, is the only person who does it sort of without that support. He comes to that conclusion himself.
Yeah.
Rabbit and Tigger and Piglet all come to that conclusion by working together and combining their strengths to be able to find Christopher Robin. And they do. They get to the eye of the skull where he's just there. Yeah. And as a kid, didn't make any fucking sense. I was like, what the fuck? He was here the whole... See, as a kid, I knew it was school.
Yeah.
But then when they got to the eye of the skull and it's like, oh, Christopher Robin's here. I was like, what? Yeah. But now it makes sense because you perceive it as... he's home from school. It's time to relieve his friends.
And he knew exactly where they would be and everything.
He knew exactly where they would be. Yeah. It's really, I like the concept of Christopher Robin and Pooh is great. And Pooh and all the characters is great because it really lets, instead of like a like you talk about like Dragon Tales. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Is like kids hanging out with fantastical creatures.
Okay.
But Dragon Tales isn't. They're still kids very much. It very much feels like they're the protectors.
Yeah.
With Winnie the Pooh and any of the stories involving the 100-Acre Wood, Christopher Robin is a parent. It really feels like, or he calls them their friends, but he's very much like teaching them lessons, and he feels wise even though he's so much younger.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's I think that's really beautiful. It's a different way to perceive the sort of imagination a kid would have. Like,
yeah, well, they kind of make Christopher Robin, like, if he was on his own, he'd be kind of a bland character.
Yeah.
But, in his own, the way that they utilize him in the movie, it's kind of like a self-insert for kids.
Oh, yeah.
The same thing with, like, Andy in Toy Story.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you barely see Andy's face in Toy Story.
Yeah.
Is because it's a surrogate for kids.
That's one of the reasons. The other was, like, that it was hard to model, like,
oh, yeah. It was
then.
terrifying. But that's why Sid looks like that. That's just what all of them
That's
look
why
like.
the visuals for Sid really work. And I will stand by that.
I will say that. Yeah. But, no, this is... It really goes to show that, like... Christopher Robin leaves knowing that this sort of thing will happen. Yeah. Like, he could just, like, if we're talking about, like, literal interpretations, plot holes. Why didn't Christopher Robin just wake Pooh up and let him know exactly what was happening? Why didn't he tell him? It really is more of, like, a lesson he is trying to impart onto these characters.
Yeah.
A really important one. That's why it's in a movie form and not just like an episode of a TV show. Is it's okay to be alone. It's okay to be lonely. Just remember that you have people who care about you and that you have the power within you to continue to go on without them until you see them again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's in the most literal sense. That's what this movie's about. It's about finding your own inner self and learning to love that person, and despite their shortcomings, and overcoming your shortcomings. It's a lot for a kid, because as a kid you don't even think about your shortcomings.
Yeah,
you're awesome, right?
Yeah, exactly. Until you go to school. And
exactly.
Interact with other people, and then there's a lot that I really liked about this movie. Like, I wasn't sure if I would like, because actually when this came out, it didn't get very good reviews.
Really?
Yeah, Siskel and Ebert liked it. They were on the right side of history, surprisingly. But, like, they're usually the outliers, but but it's one of those things where, like, I think that kids who saw it at the time, they really, like, appreciated it. I think that maybe, I don't know, some adults maybe just didn't really vibe with the story compared to...
Yeah, exactly.
They're probably comparing it to The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh or something like that. But
there's a lot of things to compare it to. At this point, you would have many adventures. You would have the New Adventures that is currently airing, like lots of different versions.
I don't
of
think
Wayne.
it was currently airing. I think that came out like... I think that ended like 91. But
you had different versions of Pooh
exactly.
out there.
You had different versions of Winnie the Pooh out there, and there was a lot more that came after this because this was like a huge success with audiences, more so than it was with the adults at the time.
I think it's really... I think that kids' movies are like the party games of movies, where it's like you talk about like a game like a party game that's just like a bunch of mini games, maybe a board game, Mario Party style shit, right? And it's like that is not going to get as good reviews as like something that is geared towards player experience.
Yeah,
but it not quite in the same way though. You know, it's the characters in this movie tell a very specific message to a lot of kids that I think touched a lot of kids. And in that sense, it doesn't really matter how good the movie is at that point. It's like at that point, once you've gotten the message from the art, it's like, it doesn't matter what the quality of the movie is. If it really affected you, then that's good art. You know?
Exactly. And I think that this is, in a lot of ways, great art. I mean, there is like a few things where it's like, I don't know if it was you, but like, or if I don't know if it was just me, but did all the songs sound the exact same to you?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Yeah. So if we're gonna get into it, yeah. So the songs are all okay. They're okay.
Yeah.
They're all pretty much the same song.
Yeah.
Definitely well written. They're not gonna get stuck in anyone's head. Some of them are really good. The sad one with Pooh in the second half of the movie, really touched me. Very, very. You could feel the emotion in it. He was really down on his luck there, and but yeah, the songs were just. It really felt like this didn't need to be a musical. Like this movie is already like barely. Like it's like an hour 19 or something. Like you do not need to pad this out with songs, you know? Like,
and they didn't. They only had like 5 songs or something. Like, they were very sparse on songs, but they kind of made it a musical.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was but it was kind of a half-assed attempt to be a musical in my opinion. But
yeah, exactly. It kind of sucks because you know everything else in this movie is full-assed, and to have anything half-assed, it's like, oh well, shit.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like one mark on a pretty good movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say that this overall is not my favorite Winnie the Pooh thing that's ever been made. I did like both the theatrical Winnie the Pooh releases more than this, and I also probably like the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh more than this.
Yeah.
But, you know, I and that's only because of the reason that I was saying before, where it's like they have moments of like kind of just chilling with the characters, and then they have these kind of more philosophical, grandiose themes that they explore, and this is very much leaning into one thing over the other. And I do think that Winnie the Pooh probably works a little bit better in an episodic format. Even the 2011 movie, it was, even though there was only 2 stories and it was only 60 minutes long or whatever.
It was really short.
Yeah, it was shorter than this, which was a straight to VHS movie. Yeah, that was the look back of its time, I guess. But
yeah.
But they didn't add like an interview at the end or the theatrical.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say that like this is definitely something though where if I was going through like a Winnie the Pooh marathon and I was watching a bunch of them, I wouldn't skip this.
Oh
like,
no.
I would totally watch this like with my kids. I would show them probably the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh first.
Yeah.
But then I would maybe show them this, maybe the 2011 movie. I like this more than Pooh's Heffalump movie.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the other like straight to VHS ones. Even Pooh's Heffalump movie I didn't hate or anything. I was just kind of like, but you know, I definitely would recommend this to anybody who likes Winnie the Pooh. It's maybe not my favorite thing the character has been in, but
I think it's the most significant to you, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's something that I had the most nostalgia for, and I'm not one of those people that like totally rise or dies on nostalgia, where it's just like,
Yeah, no, exactly.
I saw this as a kid, and therefore it's my favorite thing in this franchise. Because I feel like there's a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Not to point fingers, but I personally think that if you think that the 80s Ninja Turtles cartoon is better than the 2000s cartoon, I think you're a little bit biased. But
The last good... hey, I know a lot of the new Ninja Turtle stuff is good, but the last thing I saw from Ninja Turtles was Turtles Forever. Remember that?
yeah, I do remember that.
If you... This isn't anything to do with Winnie the Pooh. Go check out Turtles Forever. Go in blind. I'm not telling you what it's about.
Yeah, I maybe liked this more than the Christopher Robin movie. Maybe I did like the Christopher Robin movie though. Like,
Is it Jim Cummings as Pooh in that too?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever taken over that role. So
yeah, I don't think so. But I would recommend that too. I might have liked this a little bit more than Blood and Honey 1 and 2, just a little bit, but
just like, a tiny bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad that I got to revisit this. I'm glad.
Me too.
It's always a good feeling for me when I go and hang out with these characters, and
Absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, that's the thing. Is like, I don't think that the fact that you have more nostalgia for it changes anything about like how it should. You might be biased. You could look at it that way, but you could also look at it as there is a very finite period of time in the early childhood where I guess you'll find art that resonates with you in such a way that will carry you forward into how you look at other things. And I think this just might be one of those things where like we watched this at such a young age that its message sort of imprinted on us and sort of changed how we deal with it. You know?
It was a very good movie to watch at like a developmental age. And maybe more kids need to watch it. I don't know if they do. Maybe they do.
I'm not gonna petition the government to make kids watch this, but
I totally will.
Yeah, go for it. If someone wants to petition the government to make Pooh's Grand Adventure: The Search for Christopher Robin part of the curriculum, go for it.
Go for it.
Shit, go for it. Is that what you were doing?
No, I was doing the Diddy Kong Racing. Like, go for it after you get all the tokens.
I was doing Beautiful Joe.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. See.
But those were other things that we experienced as a young age.
Yeah, those are other things we did. Remember those? Remember?
Well, I mean, Diddy Kong Racing. I mean, I don't want to get into Frosty Village, but it was obviously very fucking inspirational for me.
Well, we're gonna have to get into that sometime. Just a big breakdown of that.
Oh, I'm not done making Frosty Village. I'll tell you that.
Oh, but, well, there you go.
So with this, I would say, yeah, if it's on Disney Plus, which I think it is. Again, I watched the Laserdisc version, but
watch the Laserdisc version, man.
Yeah,
watch the VHS.
On Laserdisc.
Buy this on Laserdisc. If you got a Laserdisc player, buy this on Laserdisc. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, what else are you gonna watch? Like Star Wars?
Star Wars? That's the only thing I think I would watch on Laserdisc.
I did watch that on Laserdisc.
How was it?
It was good. It was like the original movies. They didn't do the edits and shit. That was nice.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say about Pooh or anything like that? I forgot to mention that E.H. Shepard also illustrated The Wind in the Willows.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah. And that's what I was more familiar with because I read that book constantly when I was a kid.
Oh wow.
I love that book.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that was another Disney thing too because they did the Mr. Toad.
Oh yeah, fair.
So anything that he kind of drew, I think, was an inspiration for some of the Disney stuff. But
maybe we'll talk about that next November.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk about The Wind in the Willows.
Yes.
Yes. Well, there's a million different versions of that, but
yeah, I guess we'll find it.
We'll figure out one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that does it for the discussion for this episode. Ask me if I have a recommendation.
Do you have a recommendation?
No.
Okay.
No, because I'm so sorry. I'm gonna turn my energy down a little bit. Okay. So I've been thinking about a year-end finale type episode for quite a while now. I've been wanting to do it for a little bit, and I think now's the time. I'm not sure how much I should go into it. Should I just should I sort of lay out how it's going to work, or should I just let that be a surprise? What do you think?
Lay it out.
Lay it out.
Yeah,
All right. So, at the end of the year, I always find it stupid that a lot of award shows happen at a weird period of time. Like, I find it's weird that like the Academy Awards isn't like on in December, you know? And I imagine it's because of scheduling.
Well,
but
I think it's more because like a lot of those movies need to get like attention. And January and February are kind of dark months for releases,
yeah.
so that's when most people watch what they missed from the previous year. But
thank you for that. I wanted to sort of award our favorite things for this year, because this has been a crazy year. Like, you've been here like half the year doing in-person episodes. It's been awesome. I've been loving it. So I want to introduce the first run of what I'm going to call the Oopies. The Oopies, UEPIES. Just sort of give it a bit of a run and see how that goes. So basically how this is going to work is I want to basically award things that I think deserve recognition this year. Things that might not be in like the forefront of people's mind. Things that like I care about a lot that made an impact on me. So here's how this is going to work. For each of us, we're going to set 3 awards, and don't worry about it. I'm gonna go through it with you. We're gonna figure this out. 3 awards for each of us we are going to give away next December for things that we care about. It could be film, of course, because that's what we talk about the most. Most likely, it's gonna be art or other things that we're passionate about. I will be dropping my. I think what I'll do is in the first couple weeks of December, in our community tab, I will drop my nominations for my Oopies, and then I'll let you make your decisions. I'll give you all since I barely told Ian anything about this. I'll let him know how all this works, and we will go from there. And we expect like a crazy award show. I've already reached out to my friend and my good friend and brother, Matt, who does the theme song, to sort of do a little bit of a special version of our theme song for next episode. So
with jingle bells and
we'll see. Okay. We'll see. I've got plans. So it's going to be great. It is going to be our year-end show. And I really hope you all enjoy it. And it'll just be a celebration of all of the things that we cared about this year. Things that maybe we didn't get a chance to talk about. And in the meantime, as we present these episodes, I'd like to go through each of the movies that we've covered this year and rank them based on in retrospect, what the best ones were this year, to figure out what the best movie we watched on the Unrealistic Elephant podcast was for 2025. So that's what you have to expect next month. If
I have no idea how I'm gonna pick my favorite midget porno, but I mean,
get ready for Ian's favorite midget porno. All the nominees will be going up in December. Get hyped. It's going to be amazing. So, that is it. We need to go get ready. We need to get fitted for tuxedos. We need to get a venue. I haven't got any of this. We're just going to figure it out, I guess. So, we're going to go and we're going to take care of that. So, we don't have much time. So, I guess, unless you have anything else to say? Okay, cool. All right. So, well,
that was perfectly timed.
That was great. Fuck.
Hibbity, that's all, folks.
A B, that's all, folks. Stay tuned for our end of the year show. The last show of 2025 will be coming out New Year's Eve of next year. or next year, of next month. And yeah, it's going to be a great one. So thanks so much for listening, and we will see you in the new year, I guess. So have a good one.
Bye-bye. What the fuck was that?
That was me.
Fair enough.
Jesus Christ. Fair enough. Jenny.
I think you've mistaken me for something.
No, my name's Jenny. My name's Jenny. What hilarious misunderstanding.